Let's just jump right in. If you're a student on a college campus, you know that feeling, right? That invisible pressure, that constant awareness of what other people might be thinking about you. It can shape so much of what we do, and honestly, it can be totally exhausting. So today, we're going to tackle that fear head on, using some incredibly direct wisdom from Jesus found in the Bible, specifically in Matthew chapter 10. This verse right here is basically our foundation for this whole conversation. Jesus kicks it off with a really powerful command. So do not be afraid of them. And his reason? It's profound. He says, eventually, everything that's hidden comes out into the light. You know, just getting a handle on that one truth is a massive first step to breaking free from the grip of what other people think. So let's make this personal for a second. Take a moment and really ask yourself, how much of my brain space is spent just managing how people see me, worrying about what my classmates, my roommates, or even my followers online think about me? If we're being totally honest, it's probably a way bigger deal in our lives than we even like to admit. And look, this isn't just some big abstract concept. This fear of man, it plays out in really practical ways on campus every single day. It's in the pressure to choose the right outfit, right? Or to laugh at a joke you don't even think is funny. It's what makes you stay silent in class when you actually have something to say. Or even just that awkward feeling of trying to figure out where to sit in a packed dining hall. It creates this constant low-level anxiety about just fitting in. And right in the middle of all that anxiety, Jesus just offers this completely radical shift in perspective. He's basically saying, stop playing this exhausting game of trying to please all the different, constantly changing opinions of everyone around you. Instead, focus on the one opinion that is stable, that's eternal, and that ultimately defines reality itself. And that's the opinion of God. Yeah, this slide just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? The contrast between these two fears is just stark. On one side, you've got the fear of man. It's all based on shifting opinions, temporary power. It can only really affect our physical or social lives. And what's the result? We stay silent, we compromise. But then look at the other side, the fear of God. And we're talking less about being scared and more about a deep sense of awe and reverence. That's based on eternal truth. It recognizes his authority over everything, body and soul. And the outcome? It actually leads to fearlessness and integrity. Okay, so if we're going to make this huge mental shift, we're going to need some pretty good reasons, right? And Jesus doesn't just command it, he actually explains it. So let's dig into the 3 specific reasons he gives for why our fears should be redirected exclusively towards God. So the first reason is just so liberating. All truth will eventually come out. I mean, think about what that really means on campus. It means you can stop stressing so much about being misunderstood or having your reputation trashed by some rumor. You can let go of that exhausting pressure to constantly manage your image because you're living for an audience of one who already knows your heart completely. Second, Jesus puts human power in its proper place, and he's brutally honest about it. The absolute worst thing another person can do is physical harm. But like the verse says, they cannot touch your soul, your true eternal self. God, on the other hand, has authority over both. So Jesus is pretty much asking a logical question. Why do we spend so much time and energy fearing the limited power of people when we should be revering the one with ultimate power? And this really gets to the heart of it. This fear of God isn't about cowering in terror from some distant, angry being. It's a reverence that's born from understanding his immense power, combined with his incredibly personal, intimate care for you. He doesn't just know about birds, he knows the exact number of hairs on your head. You are seen, you are known, and you are valued by the most powerful being in the universe. That changes absolutely everything. So, what happens when this internal shift really starts to take root? Well, this new perspective, moving from fearing people to revering God, it isn't meant to just be some private internal secret. It naturally starts to overflow into our actions and actually change how we live our lives out in the open. And this verse, wow, it presents such a profound promise that flows directly from everything we've just talked about. When your reverence for God becomes greater than your fear of people, acknowledging your faith in Jesus becomes a natural result. You're just not governed by shame or fear of what people will think anymore. And the promise attached to that is just incredible. If you acknowledge him here on earth, he will personally acknowledge you before the Father in heaven. Okay, so that's the what and the why, but how do we actually do this? Here are 4 real concrete steps you can try. Think of it as a challenge for this week. First, pinpoint one specific situation where fear usually shuts you up. Second, memorize Matthew 10:28, that verse about not fearing those who can only harm the body. Let that be your go-to shield. Third, just look for a natural, authentic way to mention Jesus in a conversation. And finally, the next time you feel that social anxiety creeping in, whisper this powerful truth to yourself: they cannot touch my soul. And let's be super clear here. The point of all this is not to become socially awkward or try to force religion into every single conversation. It's about authenticity. It's about your public life actually matching your private convictions. If Jesus is the center of your life, it's only natural that he would come up sometimes. Acknowledging him is just being honest about who you are and who you belong to. So we'll end with this challenge for you to really think about. What's the one place, maybe it's a class, a friend group, a team, where you tend to hide or downplay your faith? And more importantly, what's the specific fear underneath all of that? Is it the fear of being rejected, of looking foolish? Once you can actually name that fear, you can hold it up to the light of Matthew 10 and decide for yourself whose opinion truly matters more.